Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Crypto City. Excited to bring out our guest tonight, community favorite Tinkerlove1980. We'll be discussing her new venture, but first, a few items. We welcome back Blue from vacation. We're glad to have you back. And we want to say a thank you to Anadi for jumping in last week and helping out with photos. Thank you to the rest of our team, Loudfire and DJ Marcus and Kip. So a little bit of stuff that's been in the news lately. So AI fluency is rapidly becoming one of the most important skills in the workforce, especially as companies are using AI tools in everyday operations. By mid-2025, the number of tech GTM job postings requiring AI skills skyrocketed from just 65 jobs in 2023 to nearly 1,000. So employers are not only testing candidates' knowledge of AI during interviews, but some, like Meta, are even allowing AI use during coding assessments. What makes AI fluency unique is how context specific it is. For engineers, it may mean understanding coding assistance. For recruiters, it could be using AI for resume screening while reducing bias. And for support teams, it might even involve auditing documentation with AI. Across many industries, AI is no longer optional. It's becoming a metric in performance reviews and deciding factor in hiring. I know at my job personally, I've been trying to get them to use AI for a couple of years now. And, first they were just like, no, we don't need that. We don't need that. And over the last year, they've been seeing the different things that I do daily with AI, whether it's using it for Excel, using it to put logistics plans together, and now even using it in marketing and advertising. So it's definitely becoming something that they're warming up to a little bit as they're seeing all of the benefits of using it. Now, despite the fears of an AI job apocalypse, current researchers are suggesting that labor impacts remain limited. Employment has actually grown across most groups since 2022, especially for workers in their 30s to 50s in roles considered highly exposed to AI. The only group showing a dip are recent college graduates entering those same fields. So if AI was truly replacing workers outright, wages and employment should be falling across the board. But instead, companies are hiring more experienced talent that actually know about AI because they capture both. They have the intelligence of their experience within the industries and how to use AI. This paradox highlights that AI might be reshaping roles rather than destroying them. And the larger issue is the anxiety. People worry about being replaced even when the data shows resistance and resilience. For now, AI isn't eliminating jobs. Instead, it's raising the bar for skills for fueling a constant debate about whether the tipping point is just around the corner. So just, keep enhancing those skills. And it really doesn't matter at what point of your career you're at right now. Some people might be sitting there saying, you know what, I'm in the later part of my career. It's not really going to make a difference. You never know if your job could be gone tomorrow. Your company closes, something happens, there's the economy dips, and you are out of work. People with AI skills are going to be in hot commodities. So get those skills now while you can. We've been saying for the last couple of years, take things like Coursera and programs like that where you can learn these skills, even if you don't get the certificates, because they will benefit you down the road, either in your day-to-day at work, your day-to-day at home, or if you do end up needing a new job. Another thing I just want to touch on lightly is Bitcoin and Ethereum. August, Bitcoin's been through the roof. It's been doing great. Everything's been great. But August brought a sharp divergence between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin dropped 8% to around 108,000, which is still a lot higher than it was last year. But it erased its summer rally and is dipping, down to where it was before, Memorial Day. Meanwhile, Ethereum surged forward at 14% with ETH ETFs pulling in $4 billion of inflows versus just $629 million for Bitcoin ETFs. Now, I happen to have a little bit of both. I've watched my portfolio kind of go up, down, but across the board, my portfolio is up significantly from last year. So it's a dramatic shift, though, especially given Ethereum's market cap is less than a quarter of Bitcoin's. In today's environment of tight fiscal and monetary policies, capital flows are limited. And in August, investors clearly favored Ethereum over Bitcoin. So some analysts are pointing to Bitcoin's history of weak Septembers, noting that the asset has declined in 8 of the last 12 years with an average loss of about 3.8%. But that's just a small sample. And the fact that many of those years were before Bitcoin's mainstream adoption makes that seasonal pattern really unreliable. The way the government's been pushing Bitcoin right now and crypto in general is definitely going to, help it stabilize a little bit. So similar to the sell in May and go away, those cliches, crypto seasonality stories may be more superstition than strategy right now due to the current economy. And while August decline highlights Bitcoin's vulnerability, it's important to remember that the long-term trend, capital is flowing into crypto through ETFs, and investor preference can shift quickly. So Ethereum's performance in August shows how dynamic and unpredictable those shifts can be. So stay tuned because anything can change in the blink of an eye. But now let's get back to tonight's show. We're ready to bring out our guest and hear about her new venture and how it can help the community. So please help me welcome to the stage Tinkerlove1980. Tink, come on out and join us, please.
Hey,
welcome.
Hey, what's good, City?
How are you? Please grab a seat.
Thank you. All right, let me get my life together here, City. Let me get my life together here.
Grab a seat. You're good.
There we go.
See?
Perfect. All right.
So welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I know we've had you on the show a few times before, but each of those times was with your entities. And this is you by yourself now because you're going to talk to us and give us a little bit of what you're doing right now. But I do want to touch a little bit on, you coming into VR initially and, what made you choose Horizons as your main home originally?
It was Keke Palmer commercial. It was a Keke Palmer commercial one. And I was like, oh, I've seen that app before, because I was just in there playing Resident Evil most of the time. And I was like, I've seen that app. So I hopped over to Horizon and I ended up in the first world, the community world. And then somebody had dropped the portal to Black Magic, which child. But I hopped over to Black Magic and I met Ms. Malik. But at first, when I got over there, I was like, this is crazy. Like, it was arguments happening and everything. And I was like, what is happening right now? Like, what is this? I told her I'm never coming back in here again. This is some crazy nonsense. And she was like, no, she was from the Bronx. And she was like, no, just come in and chill with me. And after that, me and her connected. And she saw I was actually stalking her because she was like the only person I knew. So I kept joining on her everywhere she would go. And then I found the Hardy's Spades room. I found the Spades room and just started meeting people from there. So Horizon just kind of became home.
Okay. So, you know what? I know a lot of people come into VR and their first impression is either, it's filled with children or, they have some negative comments thrown their way or they're just around people that they don't enjoy. It's important for people to realize that when you come in here, you need to learn to navigate and find ways to go into private rooms or find the worlds that are your people, and the ones that you feel comfortable around. There's so many places to visit. So you also over in Horizon, more recently, but still have been doing it for a while, you started building worlds over there. So tell us a little bit about like being in the community and then saying, hey, I want to do this too. I want to make some worlds for people.
I was bored and I first tried it with the little sample world they give you and it was driving me crazy. I was like, forget it, I'm not doing this. But then one day I went in there and it was just a blank world. I built a blank world, went into a blank world and started putting things together. And I was like, okay, this isn't so bad. And my friend Necessary that I was hanging out with at that time, she was going to bingo places and she was getting houses. So she gave me a beach house template. And I started moving things around. And before I knew it, I was like, hold on, if you add some of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of mountains and some moon, and I realized I had a kind of a thing for aesthetics when building my worlds. So, it was just kind of like a small build. We hung out there for a little bit, and then I built a meditation world. And that's how I started meeting like a lot of people in different ways coming into the meditation. And it would be like the same people that I might have seen having an argument with somebody else. They're in here and I'm listening to what they're dealing with. And I started feeling like y'all gonna crack each other wide open in this place if y'all don't cut this nonsense out. So I started hanging out with a lot of the builders in there, but it was kind of like a thing where when I would open up my menu, it would be so many other worlds up there. And at that time we had live events. We could do stuff like that. And it would be so many worlds up there, but it wouldn't be like a Can-Bam or a Shea Arts or a Thelonious Monk. Like it wasn't none of these people. Like Ms. Malik, when she builds a world, I want her to build my house. Her eye for aesthetics is crazy. So I kind of started feeling like, damn, all of these people are in here and this melanated community of people are in here and they build so beautifully, but I never see them on the menu. So I went to Jordan the Twin and I was like, hey, I want to build something, but I wasn't really good at scaling height and stuff like that. Like my stuff would, if it wasn't a template already for me, the walls might be all the way up there. You understand? So I was like, Jordan, can you help me build something? And he was like, I don't build with people. I was like, well, you going to build with me? I'm not going to bother you. And so, he built the frame. But me and him got along, like we had such a vibe. And then I went in there and I started doing my little Art Deco stuff. And he came in the next day and he looked around like, wow, like it was completely different from just the white, pale, structure that he left me. So we started building really well together. And when I built Melanated Creations, I went around to all of the creators and like they were surprised, like they all admired each other, but nobody talked to each other. So it was crazy. So when I started name dropping, like, well, I got Can-Bam, I got Shea Arts, I got this person, I got that person. And he was like, really? You got Meta Big Chief to do this? I was like, yeah, I just asked. Because most of the time I've had really personal conversation with these people. So they didn't mind doing a favor for me. So we had it. And it was really nice to see when we would have the meeting night. It would just be a whole room full of melanated creators around the table and everybody sharing ideas. And at that moment, no one was gatekeeping. So it was like, well, this is how you could get monetized. And, then we would take a world hop. So every week, anybody that was building new worlds, I would put their doors up in the sky and we would have a party all weekend through and just go world hop to all of these people's worlds. So it was good just seeing them for a moment, have a community and not do all the other extra stuff that was going on.
Okay, then. So I it's good to see that you not only continue to move forward in VR, but you stretched out throughout the community, made these connections, made these friends, and used them to work collaboratively and make better things for the community. And, we are going to talk a little bit about some of the projects you've done in the past, but right now I want to talk about your current project, Beauty of Tink, and what you're doing with that right now. So give us a little bit of the inspiration behind that venture.
So, anybody that's ever been to any of my meditations, they know one of the things that I preach is that self-love, like fall in love with yourself. The deepest part of myself that I love the most is the stuff that I do, like melanated creations and bringing people together. When I first started coming over here, it was so segregated. Like, y'all was out of control. Y'all act like it was driving from Brooklyn to Long Island. So I went to the sampler because Boo Bangers was like, because I met everybody through Major. Major had brought me over here because he liked what I was doing in Horizon. He was like, man, what you're doing over here remind me of stuff that we did in Alt Space. You should come over to VR Chat. So he brought me over here and I met Kip and a few other people. So when the sample started, I said to Boo Bangers, all right, well, let me try to get you some artists from Horizon. It's like some really good people over here. So I introduced him to Angel and a few other people. And so the first night of the sampler, me and Rory was in the back looking through the screen in the green room like, you see what I'm saying? It was so segregated. It was like alt spaces were over here. it was like a sprinkle of 2 VR chatters in the back, and then the people that knew the people that was performing in Horizon was like right over here. And I was like, that is absolutely ridiculous. Like, this can't be for real. So we started throwing little mixers. So I met Anadi and Fuchsia and everybody else, and we started having little mixers. And so Baby Sis Goddess, she got that energy to kind of combine everything. I don't care what mood you in, where you from, you gonna turn up with her. So we had this little party one night at a hangout, and she came and she was like, nah, we doing shot o'clock. And Fuchsia, she was saying over there, you know, Fuchsia always say like she got a wine glass. She's dainty.
You get shot wine. You get shot wine. I'm just saying.
Listen, and she just don't be with the nonsense. And you know, and Nadia, she was kind of standing on, but that's when Black Coffee was here. And Baby Sis didn't care about nobody's nothing. She was just like in everybody's face. Let's go. It's shot o'clock. Next thing you knew, we were just kind of mixing. And Black Coffee started coming over to Horizon. And then we started throwing mixers across the platforms. And it was like the more we all hung out, the more it was just kind of like you find you had things in common. Now, when the next season of the sampler came, it wasn't the same. It was like mixed up. And it just started growing and growing and growing. And anytime I would hear about new people in Horizon, I'd be like, well, go over to VR chat too. Like it's things going on over there too. So Beauty of Tink that's always been my gift to bring people together. But now it's like, this is the future. Like we're spending a lot of time in here. We got talk shows right now that we're airing out so people can know what's going on in here. But what are they coming in here for? Like, how many clubs can we possibly have? You have more talent than that in here. And if you're going to do it, then do it a scale above what you're doing it. Like, it's so many different things that I'll see on the outside. And I think that's where the line has to kind of come over. So with Beauty of Tink is I found all of these different networking events here in New York of people that's already in the metaverse. There's 20 million people in the metaverse. We haven't even tapped into, because we stay in the same small community all the time, right?
Yep.
So in order for people to even come in here and take this serious as not a game and as a business, it has to branch out. It can't just stay in our small groups. It can't just stay in our small communities, and it can't just stay in the same mindset. So with having a resource center and having people give instructions, I'm not relying on the same circle of people that I be around to be their students. Like that's pointless. There's going to be no growth in that. You understand? There are going to be some people who might gravitate to it. Cool. But as far as right now, the circles it's a lot of partying. That's cool if that's your thing. But if you really are trying to branch out into shaping the metaverse, because literally anybody that buys these headsets next year, the year after that, are coming into what we've built. They're coming into the sampler, which was something that was built here. They're coming into movies being made in here, like Marcus did. Like, they're coming into the innovation that we brought into this space. But then you kind of get to this blockage where it's like, okay, we're not moving out of our circles. Like, this not going to grow at all. Nobody's going to bring, or sponsors going to come in here to doing the same things. So I started finding networking events out here in New York, where these are people that's already in the metaverse and they're networking. So they're already on that kind of shaping the metaverse business model, where we cannot be the only group of people that have headsets that think the way we do, or that's doing the things that we're doing. They're doing it. They're just doing it somewhere else. We just don't know them. Right. So going to these different mixers, and having the different tiers that I planned out. For those people that are on that tier, that is me. I will go out there and I will present your business to these different networking events for the people that we're not going to find in our circles. We're not. You know what I mean? So it's like we can do all of the lives, we can do all of that, but if the only people that are knowing about this are the people that we see every day, that's the people that's on Instagram, how far is that actually going to spread? You get what I mean? So the same way I took a step and came over here enough to bring 2 whole units, because it wasn't like this before. It was not like this. There was no Horizon and VR chat mixing like this before. You know what I mean?
So it was trouble to go across the street,
Right. And now you've had your nonprofit event over there.
And
You get
both.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
And this is just from Major bringing me over here and me making my own connections and making people comfortable enough to want to say, okay, I'll go over there and try some stuff too. You understand? So if I can do that here with people that I can't even touch, I can absolutely do it outside of this headset. So the resource
Absolutely.
center is not just, it's not for this community, but it is. But for this community, if the mindset is just going to stay right there, I'm not offering that to you. What I'm offering is to bring this to a whole different level because we haven't met everybody. So
Absolutely true. So, you're also have right now a project that you're working on, that you through Beauty of Tink. So tell us a little bit about that project.
So I retired from, autism and working with people with special needs. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who has a child who's nonverbal and having some behaviors. And so I was like, well, listen, if you're going to do it, I have the Tink method. And it was something that I introduced when working in the private sector. When I worked with children that were nonverbal, I would make their parents go 48 hours being nonverbal, and the other parent would have to make all of the decisions, and I made them make the wrong decision on purpose, like something that your wife or your husband would absolutely hate you doing or giving to them. I want you to feel that aggravation, and you're going to have to do it anyway because that's the choice that sometimes you give your kids. And it would break the parents, but it needed to happen because this is your child's life. This is your child's life. So after they went through it, it was like we do the PEC system where I would have everywhere around the house, from the bedroom to the bathroom to the kitchen, where we would have the Velcro, PEC system where the child would have, if you want a long sleeve or short sleeve shirt with color, if you want short pants or long pants, if you want broccoli, no broccoli. Like, you have to give them choices because they're very limited to how they can communicate with you. And you do have some that's high on the spectrum that can use an iPad, but then you have some that can't. So you have a lot of parents that are frustrated with behaviors. And I was explaining to my friend, I said I had a student where I noticed every other week his behavior was very different. So I took a meeting with the parents because that was my one-on-one. I'm very attentive. And when I first met this kid, he was throwing feces. He was doing everything. And it was really irritating. So I was the highest paid person. I went to Shepherd. It was at Shepherd Prep in Maryland. I worked at the Forbes School, and I was the highest paid person without a degree because I've been doing this since I was 14. So my field training was so much higher than theirs. They hadn't even implemented things like Skip for their studentship, but this was something that I learned in New York. So being that I was well traveled, I was able to have knowledge of different ways to deal with kids with special needs. So with this kid, when I first met him, he was throwing feces at the plexiglass. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, what is this? And I was like, listen, it has to be a reason. So I monitored him with his his vocational therapist, with all of his therapists. And I noticed they all had the same thing in common. We don't teach him the same way. When it was time for me to do lessons with him, we would do it for 5 minutes. If it was a 30-minute lesson, we would do 5 minutes of the lesson, 3 minutes of a break. Like, you have to give him a break. They would just go in. And by the time I walked down the hallway for my break, they're yelling for me to come back. I was stern with him, but I also learned how to communicate with him. And I learned how to give him his breaks just by his body language. So a lot of parents struggle with kids that are on the spectrum because sometimes they don't know how to unlock their specific language. I've learned how to master that with just the relationships that I have with them. And with him, the reason why his mood was changing is because every other week his parents were separated. When he would go to his dad's house, his grandmother would spank him.
Okay.
So by the time he would come back on Monday, he was all riled up. But if I wasn't paying attention, I would just assume that the behavior was a behavior. No, it was a trigger. But I had to watch the pattern to understand that. So with Beyond Limits, it's teaching parents how to cope and how to deal and how to find different ways to communicate with their special needs child, that a lot of my methods actually work a lot better than what you would find in a school, or what you would find, because sometimes they're not listening to the pattern of the child. I've learned how to do that, so I can teach that.
That's such an interesting, a way of thinking, because you're sitting there saying, the kids are doing these things, the parents just don't get it because they can't communicate with them. But when you make them be nonverbal and see how frustrating it is, what a way to take a step back and say, okay, wait a minute, maybe I need to rethink my whole process. And you being on the outside working with the child out of the home, you see it more clearly sometimes than you do day to day. Just like everything in life, we become a little bit oblivious to the stuff that go on every single day. And then, you sit there and you do things, and you don't realize the ramifications that you could possibly be having, especially for someone who needs such special needs care. So I love that you're, helping these people in this way. And this is all part of Beauty of Tink. That's amazing. Such a great way to give back to the community.
I'm trying.
No, it's very appreciative. It's very appreciated by people that that you stop and give them of your time. We're all busy, and you're actually taking time to create this program to help other people, which is just a beautiful thing. But you've been helping people in general for a long time in here. And, before you were doing Beauty of Tink, you were leader of the Zen Royals. And you were also part of Sisters with Sisters and other projects that you did in here. And, so Zen Royals, you were helping a lot of musicians get to, their music out there, help them with marketing, help them get, cross-platform, everything else. Sisters for Sisters was a much more personal project that you had with 4 sisters coming together to talk about hot topics in the community. So give us, we don't have to go too deep into it, but give us a little, how this influenced you in what you're trying to do for the community. I know this is a very sensitive subject for you.
It's I know that my sister wouldn't want us to stop. Right? She's been popping up so much on us lately. It's crazy work. And the 4 of us, we are very talented women. We are very talented women. And when Middle Sis came in and she started doing content, like she got me in here acting. I was watching a video she did the other day when she was doing the Viva Coach award content for them. And she was going around making many videos of, the people that were being nominated. And she asked me a question, and she was like, if you had one superpower, here she go with her questions. If you had one superpower, what would it be? And I was like, it would be to heal. And she was like, damn, that gave me chills, and that actually would be my superpower. Like if I really had one to choose. That. But with my sisters, it's like the Avengers for me. Like it's a coin that's whole. So it's kind of like going into this journey now with it just being 3 of us. It's hard. Like today is the first day I'm doing an interview without, Rory here, and her teasing me about something. And, it's like I'm looking and I'm trying not to look at my sisters, but I'm so happy that they're there. But I'll always like when it's all 3 of them together, because then it feels like the Avengers, like my powers feel, stronger with them in the room. So it's different, and I'm hoping that it will bring them back too, because I don't want them to not be seen. Like we was at Metaclean Rupert's birthday party, and he was taking a video. It's this man party. We got all these people in here. People can't even get in. It was so many people. And he got the camera open, and he's like, wait a minute, where's Goddess? When I tell you, in that moment, I was lit. Like I had a call. I was like, yo, you're being asked for it, but I swear it feels like you were sober the whole weekend when she's not around. But it's her energy. It's not the liquor. Yeah. It's her. It's her energy, So
she brightens a room. That's what she does.
Yes. So, and it was like freaking Captain Planet when all four of us are together. So it's like going into this and not hearing all three of them nag me at the same time. I'm not about to talk. You about to talk by yourself. It's like am I mentally and emotionally ready for it? And I know that I need them to see themselves still too. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I can't want to take a step, and healing takes time, and we're gonna step. So.
You know what, though? You're doing great things and you're helping others. And, this is the things that you're doing are very unselfish. And there's something to be said for that because, you've endured quite a few things. And, the growth that you have made personally over the years is showing now because you've said, I'm going to continue helping others rather than take a step back. And you doing this will ultimately help goddess peeps. Like it's going to bring everyone back out because you're showing how to keep putting one foot in front of the other, even when it's at its hardest time.
I appreciate you saying that, City. Thank you.
It's true. So now, when you were, doing your other projects and everything, you've been, one of the things you've been doing is, mentoring people. And, it's not just, you've been building in the different worlds. You've been in both Horizon and now you've been working over here. You've got world creation across platforms. You've brought people across platforms and you're doing big things in both areas because even the projects that you're doing over here are all with the end game of bringing people together. And I think that that needs to be recognized that, you're not just building, like you said, okay, here's a house, here's a club, here's a store, whatever it is that people are doing. You're building worlds that are bringing people together and helping elevate people's skills. So, the Zen Royals, that whole project, you really put a lot of effort into helping people progress with their personal goals, whether it's in the music industry or even within your own staff. You brought in people to work with you so that you could help develop their business skills. You could help them develop their marketing skills, and these were the people working with you and helping the people that came on board as your clients.
Yeah, it was definitely some really good cross-platform networking. I will say that. When we went to City of Adam, we only went there because of Jen, but we got to City of Adam and, we turned it up. Jen had the networking thing down packed. Like that city it was just a world that was there. Jen came in there. When Jen go, we go because we know we're following a good leader. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we came over to City of Adam and I put 3 establishments in there. I put the high notes in there so we can have trivia night and stuff and keep the world going with, traffic like that. And then I put Beauty of Tink in there and I was working at that time with Venue GPS. But when I started doing the trivia nights, that's when Sherwin was like trying to get into his videography. And I decided to make that one of the challenges and Goddess won the video. Rory and nice. I had did the first one just to put it out there and just to get him, kind of going. And then he did the one with Goddess and she chose her song. It was a beautiful video. So at that point, Goddess, she has that big presence. So everybody was turned up like, oh, it's the Goddess, da, da, da. And it brought a lot of people to want to do it. And the next thing you know, we're having these premieres of these music videos. You have Fuchsia in there, doing her 1-2 step. You get what I'm saying? And now you got to make her music video in here. So, it was different things like that. And then, everybody wanted to take a certain corner in Horizon for certain things. And one thing that I've learned in this space with doing business is not just about a person who can do business. A lot of people can do business, but it's about getting into business with people that you trust. So when we wanted to do Sisters for Sisters, I trust Marcus. I trust Jen. So it was like one of those things where no, we're good where we are. And they took a gamble on us. And, Marcus, he put us on the radio station. And then you had other people that wanted to do it, but then everybody didn't want to take it as serious as they were supposed to take it. So, it kind of just goes along with that networking and that ability to cross certain things and bring certain things together, where Marcus is all the way over here, Jen is all the way over here. I'm bringing them together. These are two people that I trust. Can y'all please work together and guide us through this? And they did. I have great mentors within this space. And it's a lot of people that, may want to start a business, may have businesses in here, but don't know that there are people who can be great mentors to you. But you're not going to know that if you stay stuck in your bubble. So just moving across places like that, that's where I'm trying to get this to go. Hopefully
Yes.
people snap to it.
Absolutely. So, speaking of like the mentoring that you've done with people, I mean, can you give us a couple of people that you've worked with that you kind of took their, project that they're working on, or, someone who came in with a concept or an idea, or someone with a talent that you said, you know what, let me help you spread further in here?
Kawan was the first one. We was doing his video release party of Put It in the Air. And I was like, well, I want to do something different. I don't want to just do VR chat. I want to do something different. So I called Black Sands and I was like, hey, can you play his video in spatial for me? She was like, yeah. And then we had another person that was in Zen Royals at that time. And I was like, I want you to go to big screen. And I went to all of the different platforms and made sure everything was working at the same time. And, it would have that visibility. And we did that. Like, we did a whole weekend where it was a whole party. We did the first night of the premiere, and I did it for him and Yo Afro, and she was performing at SOBs at that time. And we did it the second night, but we did it completely different. And then the third night, we did a big party in the mansion and did a meet and greet. Like, we made it feel very realistic. So it was like, and it was amazing. It was amazing how it turned out. And by that time, we definitely was having people crossing platforms because they was like, wow, like, just having that experience and doing something like that in here was just like kind of cool, So it was definitely a concept that went very far. And working on projects like that is something that it kind of makes you feel away, because you are doing this and you are making this an experience for people. You know what I mean? It's not just about taking one small I could have just did a regular, we just gonna be in one world. No, I had to think outside, and I did the same thing with Bay Misses. That's when I went over to Banter, and we had a whole party in Canavanser with their premieres. So these people over there, I joined their Discord and stuff like that. Marcus, as a matter of fact, I wanted to test the theory with the whole Twitch thing about the views. And I was like, well, let me see. So I'm always in different places because I don't stay in my bubble. So, I was on different groups that I joined or whatever. And I went over to their bar and took over the whole entire play, but I asked, of course. But I was like, do you mind if we play this? And they was like, yeah. And they liked it.
I was with you for that.
Yeah. They was like, does he do like techno and EDM music? I was like, I'm sure he can. And then one night we just decided to do it in like 3 or 4 clubs at one time. And we had his bot, going to different places, and people got to see what was going on in here. And it counted as view. We stayed at almost 300 views that night with all the different clubs that we were playing in.
I remember that was
and
so
I
cool.
like that. It was dope as hell.
Yeah.
So I love doing stuff like that because nobody's going to think of this. Like, I'm sure somebody else that's a Tink in another part of this metaverse, but I'm the one that's right here. So
you're our Tink.
I'm y'all Tink. So I'm like, nobody else gonna do that. I'm gonna go ahead and just run around the metaverse tonight and run around VR chat and pop doggone the player in everybody's club, and we all gonna be vibing out to DJ Marcus.
And nobody fought you on it. Nobody fought you on it. Everyone was like, nobody. Okay, that's cool. Everyone was good with it.
Because
didn't matter what the club.
I come outside my bubble, I actually get to know different people. Like, I know all kind of different people, and I accept people. So people don't mind if I say, hey, you mind doing me a favor and let me do this? Like, nobody mind that. And I was like, sure, Tink. And I was like, oh, can we put the bot for the camera up there in the DJ booth? They gave him access. Like, it was really a cool thing too.
Absolutely. So, all right, those are the goals that you've set, the things you've achieved. And you've done a ton of that. You've done so much here, but it's not without challenges, and you've had to overcome a lot of different adversity while you've been in here. But let's talk about, what you would, for people who are in here and trying to do stuff, what would be your advice for overcoming adversity and the challenges that are within the VR?
Remember that you're an adult. Just remember you're an adult and how an adult is supposed to conduct themselves. Like, everybody gets caught up in the drama every once in a blue, but it can be overwhelming. And if you can come in here and you can get caught up in it and be a part of the rumor mill and the nonsense, or you can come in here and have a purpose. Now, if you want to come in here and just chill and BS, that's your prerogative. But if you come in here and it unlocks a talent in you like it has with most of us, I don't think my baby sis, now middle sis says she was already doing her PR thing. But baby sis being the hostess with the mostest that we can't turn up without her being there, I don't think she thought she was going to come in here and do all that. But look at where she is. You understand? So it unlocks talent in a lot of people. And Nadi was very scared at one point to put her music out there. We all vibing to it now. She got everybody calling that big head dude that you're not supposed to be calling. You understand?
Yes.
Who thought, Fuchsia, she came in here. She got, the fitness group,
Absolutely.
Who would have thought she would have started her own fitness group and have people actually want to get up and vibe out with other people while they work out. Like, you don't, Jen bringing her business in here and celebrities that we're meeting, Cyber Shay writing books, Kip building worlds. Like, I can name Shay Arts building a gallery. I could literally name everything that everybody, Kawan robbing us out in here. You understand? Amber putting together, fashion shows for women. None of us knew that we was going to come in here and do something.
Absolutely. And that's the big thing right there.
Do it for the reasons that it's to grow. It's not about, I don't care about being popular. I am too grown to care. This is not about that. This is about being a woman that feels like the people that we read about in our history books, especially my community, they didn't think they were going to be in anyone's history books. Like, they didn't give it a daggone about being popular. They were making a change, right? We see ugly every day in this world. We get sick of it. Like, we don't know what war we about to go into right now. But in here, you can create that world that you don't have to be disgusted by. But if you're going to fill it with drama and ignorance, you might as well stay out there. Make this the clean version of what you want and become something that you feel, and expand on being innovative in this space. This is your opportunity to do that.
Absolutely. And I do want to take a moment to just, give a shout out to everyone who's in the audience right now. As she said, this pretty much every single person in this audience has done something, has come in here, maybe thinking this was just a game at first, and came in here, met people and said, hey, you know what? I can do something. I can do something in here, and have created programs, projects, clubs, worlds that have given people the opportunity to showcase their talents, whether it's the music at like the Sampler, Shayatz's art gallery, and even the people who have come in here and performed in these places or put their artwork into it. Everyone has done something. And, that taking that first step to show what you're capable of is amazing. And then the people who've taken it that one step further and said, you know what, I can do this, but I can do this even more elevated and better, and we can do this together. And so that's amazing. I mean, that this community is so talented. We've got people who've brought businesses in here, and we've got people who've brought their talents in here. Everyone is pulling their weight, doing their part to make this community grow. And you're right, we are in our own little bubble most of the time with our own people, but there are so many people in here. And for those of you watching this on YouTube and you're sitting at home and you're thinking right now, I wonder, don't wonder, get a headset, get in here, check it out. It's really, it's worth it. So let's talk about your future goals right now, because, you're working with Beauty at Tink. What else?
Between Beauty at Tink and doing the autism teaching and getting instructors to come into Beauty of Tink and actually do this and working it out with, hey, you got to email me this stuff so I can print it out so I can take it when I go to these networking events and taking pictures and making social media, notice it and meeting people there and following and just kind of building a bigger network. That is the next step for me.
That's awesome. And we look forward to this. We'll probably have you on next season at Where Are They Now, so that we can see all that you've done between now and then. And if someone is interested in connecting with you, we're going to put your socials up there so that they can look you up on Instagram. But if you're in here in the metaverse and you feel like you want to be a teacher and part of Beauty of Tink, they should reach out to you directly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and it's beauty.of.tink. Just so y'all know. Just so y'all know.
Sorry about that. I'll fix it before it goes out.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. But yeah, definitely link up with me and let's build, shape the metaverse together. Together. That's the key word there. Together. It takes a village.
It absolutely does. And I want to thank you very much for coming on here and sharing your story and teaching us about what you offer to the community to try and help them grow. And I'm really excited for your new project with the autistic children. It's such a beautiful thing. Thank you for giving of yourself and your talents to help other people.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me, sis.
Yes. And okay, next week we are going to have our training with Second Life Rich. If you have not been here before on our training weeks, they're really exciting. We pick different topics. Second Life Rich is like a walking Web3 AI VR guru. So I'm not sure what he's going to share with us. It's going to be a surprise, but you want to be here. And if you want to rewatch this episode, it will be on YouTube. And as always, join our Discord. You can get a copy of the slides. You can get the links to all the different things that we talked about. So thank you all for being here tonight on your Monday night. I know that Mondays can be a tough day, and I appreciate all of you taking time to come out here. And thank you to everyone who came out to support Tink tonight. We appreciate you as well. Guys. And one last thing, I really do want to take a moment to thank our sponsors. We have DJ Marcus J. We have Kip VR. We have Tinkerlove1980. We have Cybershay. And we have the virtual fitness group led by Fuchsia. And we have Boss Leo, all of which have supported us for a very long time. We're in season 7 right now, and we could not have made the upgrades and the changes and the technology enhancements, which, by the way, are all done by Kip. So thank you for that. But we want to thank you all for supporting us so we can continue to show the world what we have growing here in the metaverse. You know, seeds were planted. We've watched it grow, and now it is just, it's overtaking. So thank you to everyone who is a part of that, my team, all of you who are here in the audience watching, and to the guests that come on here to the stage to share their story with everyone. And we will see you all next Monday night. Thank you so much. And cuts.